You're sitting here broken, huh? I can see it in your eyes. You're dragging a weight that ain't yours to carry. They left, didn't they? Walked out like you were nothing. It's eating you alive, isn't it? That hole in your chest. You're replaying every damn thing in your head, wondering where you went wrong. Let me tell you something, and listen closely, because I don't repeat myself. God saw what you couldn't and took them out of your life. Oh, you don't like that? You wanted them to stay? Funny thing about people like you, you'd rather clutch onto poison than admit it's killing you. But I'm here to peel back the curtain, to show you the ugly truth you keep running from. Yeah, it's gonna hurt. And no, I don't care if it does. You loved them, didn't. You know, I've been watching you, the way you sit there, clutching at the remains of what you thought was yours forever. But let me tell you something. Forever is the cruelest joke we've ever told ourselves. Forever. Nothing in this world lasts forever. Not people, not happiness, not even pain. Yet here you are, clinging to ghosts, crying over something or someone that was never meant to stay. Do you know what your problem is? You think you lost something, but you didn't lose it. It was taken. Yeah, taken. And not by some random twist of fate. No, it was ripped out of your life by something bigger. Something you can't comprehend yet. You think it's cruel, unfair. You think, why me? Let me break it to you. God saw what you couldn't, and He took them out of your life. Why? Oh, I can see the question burning in your eyes. Why would He do that? Because they were never good for you. But you were blind, weren't you? You were so caught up in the illusion, the mask they wore, that you couldn't see the cracks beneath. You didn't see the lies, the betrayal, the poison they poured into your soul with every fake smile, every hollow word. Trust. Such a fragile thing, isn't it? You gave them your trust, and they crushed it like it was nothing. And now you sit here, shattered, wondering why. But let me tell you something about trust. It's a currency. It's valuable, and not everyone deserves to hold it. Yet you, in your naivety, handed it out like candy. And look where it got you. Alone, broken, bitter. But here's the kicker. That's exactly where you're supposed to be. Because, my friend, pain isn't your enemy, it's your teacher. You've been sitting in a classroom this whole time and you didn't even know it. Every tear you shed, every night you couldn't sleep, every time your heart ached. It was a lesson, a harsh, brutal lesson. And now you've got two choices. Learn or stay in this pit you've dug for yourself. Let's talk about loss. You think it's the end of the world, don't you? They left and now nothing makes sense. But have you ever stopped to consider that maybe, just maybe, their absence is a blessing? Think about it. Every time you tried to grow, they held you back. Every time you dreamed, they scoffed. Every time you reached for something better, they made you doubt yourself. They were a weight tied around your neck, dragging you down into the depths. And now you're free. But you're too blinded by your grief to see it. You've been mourning the death of something toxic, crying over poison like it was honey, and that, my friend, is the greatest tragedy of all. Why do people leave? I know you've asked yourself that 100 times. Let me answer it for you. People leave because they're not meant to stay. Some are there for a season, to teach you something, to prepare you for the next chapter. But not everyone is a permanent fixture. And that's okay, because the ones who are meant to stay, the real ones, they'll be there. Through the storms, the chaos, the darkness. They'll stand by you, not because they have to, but because they want to. But here's the catch. You'll never find them if you keep chasing shadows. You're out here running after people who've already shown you their true colors, begging for their attention, their love, their approval. Why? Why do you need validation from someone who couldn't even see your worth? You're better than that, or at least you should be. Now let's get real for a second. You think you're the victim in all this, don't you? The poor soul who got left behind. But have you ever stopped to think that maybe, just maybe, you were the problem too? Yeah, I said it. Because the truth is, none of us are innocent. We all carry our demons, our flaws, our baggage. And sometimes those demons clash with someone else's. Sometimes we're the poison in someone else's story. It's a bitter pill to swallow, but it's the truth. But here's the beauty of it. You can change. You can take this pain, this anger, this emptiness, and use it. Mold it. Let it fuel you, drive you. Not to become bitter or vengeful, but to become better, stronger, wiser. You see, life isn't about holding on. It's about letting go. Letting go of the things that hurt you, the people who broke you, the dreams that died. It's about shedding the old so you can embrace the new. And yes, it's painful. Yes, it feels like you're being torn apart. But sometimes destruction is necessary for rebirth. Sometimes you have to lose everything to find yourself. Let me leave you with this. God doesn't make mistakes. If he took them out of your life, it's because they weren't meant to be there. Trust that. Believe that. And instead of mourning their absence, celebrate your freedom. Celebrate the fact that you're still here, still breathing, still fighting. Because in the end, it's not about who left, it's about who stayed. And most importantly, it's about who you become when the dust settles. Stop crying over the past. Stop begging for the love you never truly had. Stop wasting your time on people who never deserved you. Instead, pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and move forward, because the future's waiting for you. And it's going to be beautiful. Dark? Yes. Painful? Sure. But beautiful. Let me ask you something. What have you been holding on to? No, don't give me the same pathetic excuses you tell yourself. Dig deep. Was it love? Loyalty? Or was it fear? Fear of being alone? Fear of facing yourself? Fear of realizing that maybe, just maybe, they were never who you thought they were. Ah, love. The word that makes fools of us all. You called it love, didn't you? That connection, that bond you thought would never break. But was it really love? Or was it dependency? Be honest with yourself for once. You were so desperate for someone to fill the void inside you that you latched onto the first person who gave you attention. And in doing so, you ignored every red flag, every warning sign, every gut feeling that told you something wasn't right. But let me tell you something about love. Real love doesn't drain you. It doesn't make you question your worth or beg for scraps of affection. Real love builds you, strengthens you, makes you better. What you had, that wasn't love, that was a leash, and you were the dog, wagging your tail, hoping for a treat that never came. And now that leash is gone, you should be grateful. But no, you're sitting here crying over the person who held it, missing the very chains that kept you bound. How pathetic. Oh, I know it hurts. Believe me, I do. Letting go feels like death, doesn't it? It's like tearing out a piece of yourself, a piece you thought you couldn't live without. But here's the thing. You can. You will. Because that piece wasn't you. It was the version of you they created. The weak, dependent, insecure version they needed you to be so they could feel superior. That's the part you're losing. And good riddance. But let me warn you, the process isn't easy. Healing is messy. It's ugly. It's waking up at 3 a.m. with tears streaming down your face. It's battling the urge to call them, to text them, to beg them to come back. It's looking in the mirror and facing the parts of yourself you don't want to see. But it's worth it. Every tear, every sleepless night, every moment of doubt, it's all worth it. Because on the other side of this pain is freedom, real freedom, the kind that makes you realize you never needed them in the first place. Let me hit you with another truth bomb. People are selfish. They're flawed. They're broken in ways you can't even imagine. And sometimes their brokenness seeps into your life, infecting you like a disease. That's what happened here. They brought their darkness into your light, and you let them. You let them dim you, extinguish you, turn you into something you're not. But here's the kicker. You let them. Oh, don't look at me like that. Take some responsibility. You let them walk all over you because you thought that's what love was. You thought sacrificing your happiness, your peace, your sanity was the price you had to pay to keep them around. But tell me, where did it get you? Alone, empty, lost, and now you have a choice. You can either stay in this pit, wallowing in self-pity, or you can climb out. But make no mistake, the climb is on you. No one's coming to save you. No one's going to pull you out. This is your fight, your battle, your journey. Do you know what pain is? It's power. Raw, untapped power. Pain is the universe's way of breaking you down so you can rebuild yourself stronger. It's the fire that burns away the weak parts of you, leaving only the steel behind. But most people, they run from it. They numb it, suppress it, pretend it doesn't exist. Not you, not anymore. You're going to face it head on. You're going to let it consume you, shape you, transform you. Because pain isn't your enemy. It's your ally. It's the one thing in this world that will never lie to you. Pain doesn't sugarcoat. It doesn't pretend. It just is. And if you can learn to embrace it, to use it, there's nothing you can't do. Let me tell you what's waiting for you on the other side of all this. Strength, clarity, freedom. The kind of freedom that comes from knowing you don't need anyone to complete you. You are whole. You are enough. And once you realize that, truly realize it, you'll become unstoppable. But here's the thing, not everyone deserves to see that version of you. The version that's strong, confident, untouchable. The ones who left, they don't get to come back. They don't get to see what they lost. That's their punishment, their karma. Let them live with the regret of knowing they had something rare, something real, and they threw it away. Let me tell you a little secret. The world doesn't care about your pain. It doesn't care about your heartbreak, your sleepless nights, or your silent screams. The world keeps spinning, indifferent to whether you rise or fall. So, what does that mean for you? It means you've got two choices. You can sit here, drowning in self-pity, waiting for someone to save you, or you can become your own savior. No one's coming. You hear me? No one. The people you thought would be there forever, they're gone. The ones you thought you could trust, they betrayed you. The safety nets you relied on, they've been cut. And now you're standing on the edge of a cliff, looking down at the abyss. Scared, aren't you? Good. Fear is the first step. But fear alone won't save you. Action will. Let me ask you something. How many times have you begged? How many times have you lowered yourself, stripped away your dignity just to keep someone in your life? You think they respected you for that? No. They saw you as weak. And the moment someone sees you as weak, it's over. They'll use you, manipulate you, drain you until there's nothing left. Stop begging. Begging is for the desperate, and you are not desperate. You are not some fragile little thing that needs validation from people who don't even value themselves. They left because they couldn't handle you. They saw your potential, your light, and it scared them. Weak people always fear the strong. Remember that. Pain is funny, isn't it? It can destroy you, or it can rebuild you. Most people let it destroy them. They curl up, they cry, they wallow in their misery, waiting for the pain to go away. But you're not most people. You're gonna take that pain and turn it into a weapon, a blade forged in the fires of your suffering, sharp enough to cut through anything that stands in your way. How? By using it. Every time you feel that ache in your chest, every time the memories come flooding back, use it. Use it to push harder, to climb higher, to become so strong that nothing can ever hurt you again. Because here's the thing, pain doesn't last forever. But the strength you gain from it does. You're waiting for closure, aren't you? That magical moment where everything makes sense, where the pieces fall into place, and you can finally move on. Let me save you the trouble. It's not coming. Closure is a myth, a lie we tell ourselves to keep from facing the truth. The only closure you'll ever get is the one you create for yourself. Stop waiting for apologies that will never come. Stop expecting explanations from people who don't even understand themselves. Stop holding your breath for a resolution that doesn't exist. The only thing you need to move on is a decision. A decision to let go, to walk away, to stop giving power to people who don't deserve it. Forgiveness, what a loaded word, huh? They tell you to forgive, to let go, to move on. But let me tell you something about forgiveness. It's not for them. It's for you. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean excusing their actions or pretending like it didn't happen. Forgiveness means refusing to let their actions control you anymore. You forgive, not because they deserve it, but because you do. You deserve peace. You deserve freedom. You deserve to live without the chains of anger and resentment weighing you down. But don't get it twisted. Just because you forgive doesn't mean you let them back in. Forgiveness is for your soul, not theirs. Loss changes you. It breaks you down, shatters you into pieces, and forces you to rebuild yourself. But here's the thing. You get to decide what the new version of you looks like. You can let the loss define you, or you can let it refine you. You can become bitter, or you can become better. The choice is yours. And when you're standing on the other side of this, stronger than you've ever been, people will look at you and wonder how you did it. They'll see the fire in your eyes, the strength in your stride, and they'll know you didn't just survive, you thrived. That's your legacy. That's your power. Now let's talk about them. The ones who left. The ones who broke you. The ones who thought they could walk away without consequences. They think they've won, don't they? They think they're better off without you. Let them think that. Let them live in their illusion. Because one day, they'll realize what they lost. One day, they'll look around and see the void you left behind. But by then, it'll be too late. You'll be long gone, soaring so high they can't even reach you. That's the ultimate revenge. Not anger, not hatred, but success. Becoming everything they said you couldn't be. Proving them wrong without saying a word. That's how you win. This is your moment, your turning point, the moment you decide who you're going to be. Are you gonna let this break you? Or are you going to use it to become unstoppable? The choice is yours, and no one can make it for you. But let me leave you with this. God doesn't take without giving. If he took them out of your life, it's because he's making room for something better. Trust that. Believe that. And when the time comes, you'll look back on this moment and realize it wasn't the end. It was the beginning. Now you're alone, aren't you? Sitting in the dark, wondering what you did to deserve this. Let me tell you something about solitude. It's not a punishment. It's a weapon. The strongest people you'll ever meet didn't become that way surrounded by a crowd of admirers. They became strong when they were alone. They became strong in the silence, in the moments when there was no one to lean on, no one to save them. Solitude forces you to face yourself. Oh, you're still here? Good. That means there's still something left in you, a spark waiting to ignite. But let me make one thing clear. This transformation isn't going to be easy. It's going to rip you apart before it rebuilds you. You'll feel like you're drowning, like every breath is a struggle. But that's the price of rebirth. You've got to burn the old version of yourself to ashes before the real you can rise. Do you understand? This isn't about revenge or proving anyone wrong. It's about proving something to yourself. It's about becoming the kind of person who doesn't just survive, they thrive. And to do that, you've got to face the hardest truth of all. You've been lying to yourself. Yeah, I said it. You've been feeding yourself a steady diet of lies, and it's time to spit them out. You tell yourself you're not good enough, that you're broken, unworthy, replaceable. You let their actions define your value, their absence dictate your worth. But here's the truth. Their leaving wasn't a reflection of you. It was a reflection of them. They left because they couldn't handle you. They saw your strength, your potential, your light, and it terrified them. Weak people always fear the strong because they know they'll never measure up. So they try to dim your light, to bring you down to their level. And when they can't, they run. But you let their cowardice make you feel like you're the problem. You internalize their failures, their insecurities, their toxicity. You carry their baggage like it's your own. And now you're wondering why you're so damn tired. Let's talk about the weight you're carrying. It's not just the loss, is it? It's everything. The expectations, the disappointments, the dreams that never came true. It's the pressure to be perfect, to please everyone, to be everything to everyone, and it's crushing you. But here's the thing. You don't owe anyone anything. Not your time, not your energy, not your love. The only person you owe is yourself. You owe yourself the freedom to live without the chains of other people's expectations. You owe yourself the chance to heal, to grow, to become who you were always meant to be. And to do that, you've got to let go of the weight. Let go of the guilt, the shame, the regret. Let go of the what ifs and the if onlys. They're anchors dragging you down into a sea of self-doubt. Cut them loose. Let yourself rise. Moving on doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean pretending like it never happened. Moving on means accepting what was, learning from it, and choosing to move forward. It means letting go of the past, not because it doesn't matter, but because you matter more. Think of your life as a book. The chapter with them, it's over. You can't rewrite it. You can't go back and change the ending. But you can start a new chapter, a better chapter. One where you're the hero of your own story, not the victim of someone else's. And yes, it's going to be hard. The hardest thing you've ever done. But every step you take away from them is a step toward freedom, toward peace, toward a future where you're not defined by what you've lost, but by what you've gained. You're afraid of being alone, aren't you? Afraid of the silence, of the emptiness, of the thoughts that come rushing in when there's no one else around to distract you. But let me tell you something about solitude. It's not your enemy. It's your greatest ally. In the silence, you'll find clarity. In the emptiness, you'll find space to grow. In the solitude, you'll find yourself. Because that's the thing about being alone. It forces you to face yourself, to confront the parts of you that you've been running from. And yes, it's uncomfortable. It's painful. But it's also necessary. This is your time to heal, to rebuild, to become. Embrace it. Use it. Let it shape you into the person you were always meant to be. Now let's talk about purpose. Because without it, all this pain, all this struggle, it means nothing. You've got to find your why. Why are you still here? Why did you survive what others couldn't? Why are you fighting to move forward? Your purpose doesn't have to be grand or earth-shattering. It just has to be yours. Maybe it's to help others who are struggling. Maybe it's to build something meaningful. Maybe it's simply to live a life that makes you happy. Whatever it is, find it, hold on to it. Let it drive you, guide you, anchor you. Because purpose is what turns pain into power. It's what gives meaning to the struggle. It's what transforms you from a victim into a victor. One day, you're going to look back on this moment and realize it was the turning point. The moment you stopped letting life happen to you and started taking control. The moment you stopped being a prisoner of your past and became the architect of your future. And when that day comes, you're going to be proud of yourself. Not because of what you've achieved, but because of who you've become. You'll be stronger, wiser, braver. You'll be the person you needed when you were at your lowest. And that's a legacy worth leaving. Now go. Go and become the person they thought you couldn't be. Go and prove to yourself that you're stronger than your pain, bigger than your past, greater than your fears. Go and show the world that you don't just survive, you thrive. And remember, God saw what you couldn't and took them out of your life, not to punish you, but to protect you, not to break you, but to build you, not to hurt you, but to heal you. You're probably still thinking about them, aren't you? Still replaying every conversation, every memory, every time they smiled at you and made you feel like you mattered. That's the poison of it, isn't it? The memories, they cling to you like ghosts, haunting your every thought. You can't shake them, can't forget them, can't let them go. But let me tell you something about memories. They're not real. They're a distorted version of the past, twisted by your emotions. You remember the good times, the laughter, the warmth, but you've conveniently erased the pain, the lies, the moments when they made you feel like you were nothing. Think about it. How many nights did you cry yourself to sleep because of them? How many times did you question your worth because of the way they treated you? How many times did you forgive them even when they didn't deserve it? And now you're sitting here mourning their absence as if their presence was a gift. Wake up. They weren't a gift, they were a lesson. A hard, painful lesson. And now that they're gone, it's time for you to graduate from their class and move on. You don't feel strong right now, do you? You feel weak, broken, vulnerable. But let me tell you a secret. Strength doesn't come from never falling. It comes from getting back up. And every time you've been knocked down, every time you've been hurt, every time you've felt like giving up, you got back up. Maybe not right away, maybe not gracefully, but you did it. Do you know what that makes you a fighter? And fighters don't quit. They don't stay down. They don't let their pain define them. They use it. They turn it into fuel, into fire, into a reason to keep going. And that's exactly what you're going to do. But strength isn't just about surviving. It's about thriving. It's about taking all the pain, all the anger, all the heartbreak, and channeling it into something greater. It's about building a life so beautiful, so powerful, that it makes every tear, every scar, every sleepless night worth it. You're still looking for closure, aren't you? Still waiting for that one moment when everything makes sense, when the pain disappears, when you can finally move on. But let me tell you the truth. Closure doesn't come from them. It doesn't come from apologies or explanations or some grand gesture that erases all the hurt. Closure comes from you. It comes from deciding that you're done carrying the weight of their mistakes. It comes from realizing that their actions were never about you, they were about them. It comes from forgiving yourself for holding on too long, for giving too much, for not walking away sooner. And once you find that closure, once you let go of the need for validation, you'll be free. Free from the chains of your past, free from the pain they left behind, free to create a future that's not defined by them. Letting go isn't easy. It's not something you can do overnight. It's a process, a journey, a battle. And every day, you're going to have to choose to let go. You're going to have to fight the urge to hold on, to reach out, to go back. You're going to have to remind yourself that you deserve better, even when you don't feel like you do. But here's the thing about letting go. It's not about forgetting. It's not about pretending like it never happened. It's about accepting what was, learning from it, and moving forward. It's about choosing peace over pain, freedom over fear, self-love over self-destruction. And every time you let go, every time you choose yourself over them, you're taking back your power. You're reclaiming your life. You're proving to yourself that you're stronger than your pain, braver than your fears, better than your past. One day you're gonna look back on this moment and realize it was the turning point. The moment you stopped letting life happen to you and started taking control. The moment you stopped being a victim and became a survivor. The moment you decided that you were worth more than the scraps they gave you. And when that day comes, you're going to be proud of yourself. Not because of what you've achieved, but because of who you've become. You'll be stronger, wiser, braver. You'll be the kind of person who doesn't just survive, they thrive. And that's a legacy worth leaving. Do you know what the most dangerous thing in the world is? Belief. Not in others, not in a higher power, but in yourself. Because when you believe in yourself, truly believe in yourself, there's nothing you can't do. There's no obstacle you can't overcome. No dream you can't achieve. No pain you can't endure. But self-belief doesn't come easy. It's not something you can fake or force. It's something you have to earn. And the only way to earn it is to face your fears, confront your demons, and prove to yourself that you're stronger than you ever thought possible. And once you believe in yourself, truly believe in yourself, you'll be unstoppable. You'll be the kind of person who doesn't just survive life, they conquer it. This is it. This is your moment. The moment you decide who you're going to be. Are you going to let this pain define you? Or are you going to use it to become the person you were always meant to be? The choice is yours, and no one can make it for you. But let me leave you with this. God doesn't take without giving. If he took them out of your life, it's because he's making room for something better. Trust that. Believe that. And when the time comes, you'll look back on this moment and realize it wasn't the end. It was the beginning. Now go. Prove to yourself that you're stronger than your pain. Prove to the world that you're not defined by who left, but by who stayed, by who you've become. And remember, when the night feels darkest, it's not the end. It's the prelude to the dawn.